Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day today. I wanted to do an update video today. It's the beginning of April. I hope everyone had a wonderful Easter. Thank you all for all of your beautiful Easter wishes. And I've got a lot of things in bloom. I've got a lot of things that I need to kind of think through as to what I'm going to repot, how I'm going to fix certain things. So I thought I would just kind of go through and give you an update and what's in bloom in my collection today. And first off is my DTPS Red Brothers Caribe. I love this FAL. It blooms every single year consistently for me. And the blooms are actually just so deep red that it's almost breathtaking to look at this one. I find it hard to even talk when I look at this FAL. So I've had this one for about 8 years. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful thing when it blooms. And here's Buddy FAL. 2 of these blooms have bloomed out, and I've got about 4 more to go. Charming bloom on this one. And here's another favorite. I have several requests to give a close-up on FAL Maryanne. I absolutely love this color combination. You know, I enjoy sharing with you all these beautiful blooms because it's like you work on these plants all year long. You're watering them, you're fertilizing them, you're taking care of them. And when they finally bloom, it is just such a gift. Okay, and on the right of this screen is my FAL Boldens Kaleidoscope, and that one is in moss. I've had that one for many years, probably 8 or 9 years. And then to the left here is my Dendrobium Burana Jade Fantasy number 9. 2 more spikes have completely bloomed out. So these have just been so beautiful. The lower spike was very unusual. It took it a while for this to bloom out, but it's like it's got leaves. Do you see the leaf underneath this top? Well, let me show you. Right here. It's got a little leaf, and it has the same pattern as the petals. So I just think that is just so charming. I love the way that these bloom out. And here is my beautiful FAL Carmen. She's starting to bloom as well. She is in waterculture, and this is one of my waterculture tester FALs. And this one has done very well. As soon as I cut the spike off, because it had just rebloomed 3 times off of one spike, I cut that spike off, and it immediately set up another spike. So this one had some magnesium deficiency issues. The leaves were purple, and I started using the Epsom salts and the CalMag on this one once a week. And as you can see, the leaves are pretty and green, and the roots are nice and strong. And here is my beautiful FAL Magic Art. The last bloom bloomed out, and I want you to see the size of this bloom. It's huge. So this FAL has been in bloom now for 5 months. Yes. So I thought I would let you all know too that I did a repotting on this one last week. This one I potted in the ORhikata bark. It is very easy to pot orchids in ORhikata bark. The bark is just absolutely beautiful, and it's not dusty. And so it has really done very well. Oh, and I'm going to show you all Einstein in the ORhikata bark as well. And here is Einstein in the ORhikata bark. As you see, he is getting a new leaf. There has been no transplant shock in this plant at all. I put it in this bark, and it has taken off. So it's done beautifully, beautifully well. I'm hoping that it gets more leaves this year. This plant normally produces a lot of roots and a lot of spikes. As you see, I have 3 spikes on this one. So I'm hoping that I get some more leaves on it, but this blooms for me so beautifully every year. I've had this one for 11 years now, so I'm really happy to see that this is doing so well in this bark. And speaking of spikes, look at this spike that's on my FAL Boldens Kaleidoscope in bark. I'm going to need to probably repot this one in the fall. But look at all the buds on this spike, and it's got a branching part right here on this spike. So all in all, this looks like it's going to be about 10 or 11 blooms. It just got through blooming. That's the interesting thing. I've got 2 old spikes, so I don't really know if I like the look of the old spikes on the plants, but I don't want to cut them down either. I really do get a lot of secondary spikes from them, and who knows, one day I might get a kiki, so I'm going to leave them for the time being, but this spike is going to be beautiful once it blooms out. I'm really excited about it. And my FAL Hilo Pink is still doing beautifully. These blooms they glow when the sun hits them. They're so pretty. I'm going to need to repot this one. I'm going to be repotting this one in orchid bark. Oh, probably within the next few weeks. I'm going to try to do a video on that one and get some of my camera crew in to help me on that. This bark is just kind of spongy, and it just kind of breaks off real easy. I think this is what they call orchid compost. I don't especially like it because it can break down very, very quickly. So I want to get this into some orchid bark. I'm also wanting to just make sure that there isn't a moss plug in this one. I don't think so. I dug around in here pretty well. I don't think there is one, but I just want to make sure. Plus I want to get it in a bigger pot, one with some orchid bark. I really like this orchid bark. And these are some eastern facing windows that I have created a little jungle around. Some of these plants were back in my sunroom, and it got really hot back there last week, and I thought, oh, I don't want these to sunburn. We've had such drastic swings in temperatures these past few months, and I thought I really need to get these somewhere where the temperatures are more constant here in my house. And I'm actually getting some heat and air vents put back in my orchid room, so I think that I'll be able to fix everything back up before too long. But I just wanted to kind of keep everything shielded from the sun, which, just kind of a reminder here. Spring has sprung. And so, I'm going around and just checking to make sure that on these sunny days, when it gets up into the 70s, that they're not getting the sun doesn't need to be too hot on them, so just kind of check to make sure that they're not in too bright of a location, because that sun is a lot different this time of the year than it was even a month or 2 ago. And believe it or not, I still have some buds on my red Christmas cactus. This one has bloomed and bloomed. And normally after they bloom, they kind of relax. The whole plant just kind of looks like it's taking a rest. These are not resting. They're beautiful. So I am thinking that this window is their home. They just look very, very happy here. So I'm going to be probably leaving them here throughout the spring and summer months. They look like they're doing just really well here. And here you see the buds of my Cattleya. It is getting ready to bloom. I'm so happy to see this. The other spike of buds blasted. Yes, we had a very hot day back in February it was. I just did not see that very warm day coming. It reached almost 90 degrees here in the mountains of Tennessee. That doesn't normally happen in February. So, there's been so many of you all asking me about bud blast. And to be honest with you, I've never experienced it all that much until this year with all these very sudden temperature swing. So now I understand, but sometimes there's just no way around it. And by the time I knew I should have moved it, it was too late. The buds had already blasted. But these are going to be fine, so I'm very grateful for that. And another case of bud blast I had was with this little orchid. This was supposed to have several buds on it that did blast. It just got in a situation, I'm supposing that it got too cold for the buds. So I did get this beautiful bloom, and it is a spectacular bloom. So, some years are just better growing years than others. So when you do have something like that comes up, just remember, next year might be completely different. So we do everything that we can to keep from bud blast, but sometimes you really don't have a whole lot of control over that. So thank you all so much for going on my orchid tour with me. I hope that all of your orchids are blooming beautifully for you as well, and you all be highly favored, deeply loved, and greatly blessed. And we'll talk to you next time.